Hello, folks. You are listening or viewing the Deal by Me podcast with Dr. James W. Smith, your host. This is where we ask guests to tell us your story. Your story can encourage, inspire, and hopefully transform a life. Today, I have with me Fitz Koehler. I should have asked her the correct pronunciation of that name, but she is a very prominent and compelling fitness expert and race announcer in America. And you wouldn't believe she is the voice of the Los Angeles Marathon, Philadelphia Marathon, Big Sur Marathon, DC Wonder Woman Run uh, series, and so much more. She brings big structure to us today, energy and joy to the sport. There's so much I could say about this, but I'm going to let her share in her own way today. I'll be asking a few questions, but I want you to hear what she has to say. I think you will enjoy this podcast as we move forward with this conversation. Fizz, I hope you okay with me saying just Fizz. Am I
Fitz.
all right, Fizz? Uh, it's good to have you with us today.
Dr.
Uh,
James, thank you for having me on your show. I'm really happy to be
no,
with you.
no problem. We are so thrilled that you've decided to share with the listeners today. And I want to just first of all ask you where you what interview is being taken place with you, where you are, and so that listeners can have a good feel for uh, people who are coming on this show from different areas of the country. So share with us a little bit about your background, or what you do, and then maybe we can ask a few questions in between.
Sure. So I do live in sunny Gainesville, Florida. They call it a swamp for a reason. I love being here. There's a lot of forests and trees and springs and rivers and lakes and alligators and mosquitoes and sunshine. So happy to be a native Floridian and enjoying the warmth today. As you said, I'm a fitness expert first. My mission, my personal mission for as long as I've been teaching, which has been decades, and I have a master's in exercise sports sciences, is my mission is to help people live better and longer by making fitness understandable, attainable, and fun. And so on the fitness side of my business, I work in mass media. I do television, radio, books, blogs, podcasts, any way I can reach a mass audience. Thank you so much for sharing yours with me today. But to deliver these messages that will help people do better and be better. I've done corporate spokesperson work. I do a lot of keynotes. Companies like Disney, Oakley, Tropicana, Office Depot have brought me in to help not only their consumers, but quite often their employees raise the bar with health and fitness, et cetera. As far as being a professional race announcer, I man the start and finish lines of some of the largest, most iconic running events in the United States. And I love it. You think about World Cup soccer right now, all those hooligans in the stands jumping and celebrating. That's what my start lines look like. People have a darn good time. And as they're sent off to go have the athletic adventure of a lifetime, whether they're going to walk or run 1 mile, 5K, or a full marathon distance, I love to cater to these people, make sure they're engaged, informed, entertained, they're having fun. And when they all cross the finish line, no matter who they are, where they're from, and which place they came in, whether they came in first or dead last, I want every last one of my athletes to feel like a champion, like they won the whole thing. So I do those things. And of course, I'm an author. I have a second and third book in my Cancer Comeback series. It's due out this January, and I am chomping at the bit to get them in the hands of cancer patients and survivors who need the support.
Well, I do note that you have written a couple of books. So one of the books is entitled My Noisy Cancer Comeback. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, my noisy cancer comeback, running at the mouth while running for my life. So that's my
Uh,
memoir of my
okay.
absurd cancer experience while traveling the country announcing races.
It seems so interesting. Why did you decide to write the book?
That book stemmed from a few things. Number one, when I started treatment, we all expect that with cancer, you may feel sick, you may go bald. And I was those things. I was very, very sick and I was very, very bald. But then all sorts of other crazy experiences started happening. And I kept thinking, how come nobody talks about this stuff? Like there's these deep, dark secrets nobody shares in the cancer community. And it was kind of stressful and surprising that things were happening to me that I wasn't expecting. And then also it became very funny. I'm a sarcastic girl. I look at everything where the glass is half full, and I'm always looking for the fun and funny side of things. And so, yeah, for example, my nose kept running. And I live in a foresty type place. So I thought, oh, geez, this chemo is making my allergies act up. And I had already gone bald and, just was kind of hanging in there doing the best I could. And it was a cancer survivor who had recently gone through it. I said, I had all these tissues on my stage while I was announcing. And I was kind of embarrassed about all the tissues. I said, I'm so sorry. My allergies are acting up. And she said, you don't have allergies. And I said, oh, yeah, I do. My nose is really running. She goes, you don't have allergies. You don't have any nostril hair. And I went, what? And she goes, you don't have any nostril hair. That's why your nose is running. Your nostril hair holds the fluid in. And I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. And so I asked her, I said, Dana, look. And I tilted my head back and she looked in my nose and she said, yep, you got no nostril hair. And so it was stuff like that. My eyes changed colors. I used to have pale gray eyes, silver. People were always complimenting me on them. And then I woke up one day and they were navy blue saucers. And I thought, how did that happen? And why did nobody warn me? So those were the initial reasons of, I should tell people about this. They should know, and B, they probably would get a laugh at my expense. And then as my treatment progressed, what I thought is, gee whiz, I'm making some good decisions here that are really benefiting me. I could help people. And so that book is, it's funny and fun and exciting and up and down, but then it really, the greatest yield is that people reach out all the time and say, I have brain cancer and it's been a nightmare, but because of your book, I laugh a lot and I'm showing more courage than had I not read your book. So my noisy cancer comeback has really turned out to be a delight. Very, very appreciative of that success.
Can I ask you, this may be a little personal, but can I ask you what type cancer you had?
Yeah, so I had breast cancer, and interestingly enough, I had a clean mammogram in late, like December 28th of 2018. I found a lump about 6 weeks after that sparkling clean mammogram. It not only did I have a tumor at that point, but it had already spread to the lymph nodes. And so, with my messaging, yes, I want people to go get all of their annual exam, their eyes, their skin, their colon, whatever it is. But you also have to be diligent in checking out your own body regularly. I touched my breast, thank God, and that's how I found my lump. These are your hands, your chest, your testicles, your skin. You have the permission to touch your own body and keep exploring it. And if you find something weird, that's when you pick up the phone instantly. Don't ham or haw, don't Google it. Just reach out to your doctor and get their expert advice, because I really saved my own life by finding my lump, and I want other people to do the same.
I appreciate you sharing that. This is a really interesting conversation, as I've had prostate cancer myself.
Okay. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, exactly 18 years ago.
Wow.
And my PSA is almost undetectable, so I'm doing very, very well. But I also just had a good acquaintance who just passed from prostate cancer.
Wow.
So I do like the way you expressing this and sharing with us how it is so important. There's one thing I like to ask you, and I know that note that is, and some of the things that wouldn't mind answering is, how can a cancer patient slow their physical decline?
That's a great question. And that's really that's 50% of these new books. Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, Sick to Strong. That's the guidebook. That's the manual for cancer patients and survivors to maintain strength or rebuild. And then there's a companion journal. How do we prevent decline? Well, in general, whether you are a cancer patient or not, you're just an average Joe. If you are not purposely working to become stronger, you are getting weaker. So every day we have to put some sort of effort into maintaining the capabilities we have and then hopefully improving on them. Well, when you get cancer, and everybody's treatment protocols vary, but there's some universal theme, right? Chemo is somewhat universal. Not everybody gets it, but a lot of us do. Radiation's a theme. Surgeries are a theme. Chemo quite often makes you feel real bad. And what do you end up doing? You end up in bed a lot or sitting down a lot. You end up missing out on those activities you were once doing that help build up your body, make it stronger, or at least keep it stronger. And so instead of feeling good, you start atrophying. Your muscles not being used. They start getting weaker. When you're not moving your body through a broad range of motions, they become stiffer. Your joints become less mobile. And so what I want cancer patients to do is prioritize those things. And again, not every day is going to be a great day. So if you're going through chemo and you're not feeling so bad, and a lot of people have a lot of good days during chemo. I have a friend who he's run both the Boston and Chicago marathons this year with chemo for stage 4 colon cancer. So there's a lot of people out there crushing it. But be deliberate. So if you can exercise regularly, great. If you can exercise vigorously, that makes you huff and puff, brilliant. There's a new study out of the University of Tel Aviv that says that high intensity aerobic exercise can prevent cancer metastasis by 72%. 72%. So if you huff and puff, get out there, work vigorously, maybe you have breast cancer and you're stopping it from going to your brain or your lungs, which are the top 2 destinations breast cancer likes to spread. So exercise can go a long way. It is proven to increase your chances of remission, which is what we consider a cure after 5 years. And it will decrease your chance of having a recurrence. And not only that, but exercise, quality nutrition, stress management, sleep, all of these things we talk about in Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, those are tools that will prevent many cancers. So it didn't prevent mine. That's okay. My body probably fought off a whole ton of cancer cells before it finally succumbed to this one. But yeah, it's incredible how much control we actually have. Let's use our Western medicine resources as much as we can or as much as we need to. But we have a lot of personal power, and that will come with choosing food that help versus foods that hurt, and then moving our body in a variety of ways.
Well said. Well said. I'm curious because you've gone through the cancer treatment, chemotherapy, and what have you. So I'd like to just know, what was the most surprising, thing about your cancer treatment? What is it that surprised you the most?
I mean, there was all the weird things, right? The
Okay.
eyes changing colors. Those were surprising. In hindsight, I can say that maybe the most surprising things are the silver lining. So, people don't look at cancer and think that's going to be a great time. For the most part, it's not a great time. But I was the recipient of so much kindness and love, not only for my family and my tight community, but I never wore a wig. And I never wore a shirt with I still haven't worn a pink ribbon since my diagnosis. The cancer is not who I am, right? So I didn't wear the cancer warrior t-shirts that a lot of people have. I got along with my business, gray and bald and glossy eyed, and the kindness from strangers. It's very interesting to me how people love to pick on Americans specifically, right? They're always trashing our country, our people, and making it sound like we all hate each other. And I really found that the direct opposite is true. When I roamed around this country looking pretty bad, everybody, every person of every age, every walk of life did their best to try to be kind to me, whether they were bringing my luggage down from the overhead bin on the plane or just sharing an encouraging word. You could tell people were invested in me, they were concerned, and it just really I always have faith in Americans in general. Gosh, I love our country, I love our people, but that experience really shined a wonderful spotlight on how good people can be. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of surprising that I went through cancer and there's so many good parts to talk about. Who thinks of that, right?
You're interesting because you're sharing two aspects today that's very interesting from the standpoint of you had cancer, but yet you also a runner, and there's so much listeners can learn from both of these things. And so as we look at it from both sides, the cancer, and then you are a runner, been in marathons, all of this type of thing. So what is it? I guess I want to ask them, what is it about running? What is it about cancer? Because listeners of this podcast uh, are those who've gone through some issues in life, you know, depression, cancer. It could be many, many things, because we're about encouraging, inspiring, and hopefully transforming. And so, from your experience and from all that you've done, the cancer that you have incurred, that you're running, the marathon that you've been in, what can you say to somebody who has experienced some difficulties in their life, who've gone through cancer treatments or who have cancer, uh, people who have once ran marathons or run, but all of a sudden now they find that themselves they're unable to do all that, so they're a little depressed. Is there a word for them? Can you
Yeah,
give a word?
yeah. I mean, it's hey, none of us get out unscathed, right? Nobody gets through life and it's just all easy and it's all wins, right? We're all going to lose at something, we're all going to fail, we're all going to experience hardship. Sometimes it's illness, sometimes it's injury. Some people are born with genetic problems that right from the start they can't walk or talk or see. There's everybody has some hard times. So I don't believe in the why me mentality, because why all of us? We're all going to get something. But we do have so much control over ourselves. And, for starters, as a fitness expert, I would be negligent not to tell people to prepare your body to do battle today. You do not know when illness or injury will strike, right? Perhaps you walk out the door and you get hit by a bus. Boom. If you have a fit, healthy body, you are so much less likely to be injured severely, and you are so much more likely to bounce back quickly and fully. So take care of this body you have. Now, you're a religious man, and there's a lot of faith, I'm sure, in your listenership. If you believe your body was a gift from God, then that is your responsibility to care for that gift, right? To make it as best, as clean, as whole, and healthy as possible. And so, watching what you put in your mouth and exercising and eating wisely and removing the cranky people, that is your responsibility to take care of that gift. So, let's start there. But then, when stuff hits the fan and life goes in the wrong direction, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently, you've got to rely on your mental fortitude to get through it. And we've all done hard things. They're very different things. You introduced yourself and told me about these challenges you've had and how you've made beautiful, wonderful, incredible lemonade out of your lemons. And so, first of all, keep perspective. Somebody always has it worse. For me, in Gainesville, we have a pediatric oncology center that's pretty huge. There's a lot of kids with cancer rolling around here. So for me, I thought, well, how fortunate I'm an adult with cancer. And then also, it's not my kid with cancer. And so, with those two things, I will be grateful and I will not complain about my cancer. I didn't enjoy it. I cried a lot. I assure you I did, but I never complained about it. I never had a pity party and a why me moment. I just decided this is my lot in life and I'm going to figure it out. Number two, I pursued my passions. And so in this weird society and ideal now where, oh, you're sick, hide, run and hide from anybody who's sick, isolate yourself, baloney. My life was so much better because I boarded those planes and I hugged those sweaty strangers. And the more goodness I could get in the life, the more I was lifted up. If I would have stayed home during cancer care, all I would have been was sick. All I would have been was sick. Instead, I pursued my career. I insisted on time with my kids. And in those very dark days, I had light. And then third, I chose to be positive, right? So we can complain about anything. And some people will not only complain about cancer, but they will complain about traffic and they will complain about the weather and they will complain about anything they can think about just because that's their thing to talk about. Well, hey, PS folks, you are bringing everybody else down. Nobody wants to be around you with all of your complaints. It's okay to complain. It's like the boy who cried wolf. If you have a legit, serious complaint, okay, put it on the table for you and your friends to discuss, or your pastor, or your therapist. But if every day you wake up with something to complain about, people are going to start tuning you out. And so, perspective, passions, positivity, be the person that other people want to be around, lift yourself up, and remember, you can do hard things. I hit some major obstacles that terrified me, freaked me out, and I had to do a lot of coaching inside my head. And I would say, this is what it sounded like while I was stuck in an MRI machine, pinned down by my breasts and claustrophobic. I said, you have built an international business. You have raised two incredible children. I was a competitive kickboxer for 10 years. Fitz Koehler, you can do hard things. You can do this. Just hang in there. And I did that through that hour and I got through the MRI. And then every time I walked up to a nurse who had a big needle to stick me with, I would remind myself I could do hard things. And I said that over and over for 15 months. And eventually I was done. So you're capable. You have more control than you think. Just start executing it. Lift yourself up.
You know, I can sit and listen to you for hours. I
Oh.
know, but I know you did quite a bit of speaking before groups. I hear you mentioned that earlier,
Yeah.
and you going here, you running, but then after having your chemo, you lost your hair, even lost your particles in your nose. I mean,
That's right.
you were going through a whole lot, and that's the reason you call this book what you call it, because of what you were going through. So I understand that, but there's a little something about me that wants to know, how did you feel when you were in front of these nice, big, large groups of folk, and you've been used to having nice, long hair, you've been used to all of this, and now all of a sudden you bald, you don't have any hair in your nose. I mean, you're just not that person that you once were. What kind of feeling was that?
Do you want to know the truth?
Mm-hmm.
I felt powerful. I felt
Okay.
like I was taking the reins of my own situation. When I went in, I did go into a wig shop and I tried on a few wigs. I still had hair at the time, but they felt itchy and then they made me sad. And it was that moment where I was sitting in this wig chair with this really nice wig lady. And I thought, I won't do anything else to myself that will make this worse, right? I'm not going to make myself sadder or less comfortable. And so to heck with it, men rock their bald heads. I'm going to rock mine. And, standing in front of those groups, what I had to come to grips with was nobody on earth has chosen me because of my appearance, right? Like maybe my husband dated me because he thought I was cute, but people choose me because I'm really smart and I'm compelling and I'm energetic. I can make them feel a certain way. I can make them perform a certain way, my value to the running community or to my audiences when I'm doing keynote has nothing to do with my appearance. And so, yeah, I never, ever wanted to present myself as cancer's victim. And that's why I don't wear ribbons. And that's why I don't wear pink warrior shirts. I am not cancer. Cancer tried to get me and I beat the crap out of it. It's something we can talk about. You know, my experiences and my knowledge can certainly benefit other people. But yeah, when I stood on those stages bald, I kind of was flipping cancer off and saying, let's go, people, let's get on with it. Cancer is not your problem. And today it's not mine. And that's pretty cool. And from what I've been told, many people who were in those audiences who eventually went through cancer, you know, they reach out and say, you know, I never thought I would be bald too, but I don't wear wigs because of you. And so that's cool, right?
So where are you now in your cancer stage? Do you consider yourself having beat it, or you still working through it?
No. So I finished treatment in May of 2020. And, you know, I'm in remission now. They call that no evidence of disease. And I don't think they consider you cured until you're 5 years without evidence of disease. But I do feel like it's behind me. I don't want to get too cocky about it, but I feel like it's in my past. And to be honest with you, I am healthier than I've ever been. And, you know, that's one of the things that compelled me to write is during my treatment, I hit rock bottom. I had lost about 12% of my body weight. I was skeletally skinny. I was, everything was gone wrong. My finger and toenails were ripping off. Like there was nothing in my body that felt good or was working properly. And I had 5 months of this really nasty chemo. And then they gave me another chemo for 10 months that was still mean, but less mean. And so when I was done with the super nasty chemo, the mean chemo, I eventually got back into a gym and I went in. I was super excited to go lift weights. I sat down on a machine and I tried to push what I had originally pushed before chemo. I had to drop those weights by 80%. 80%. And so there I am. Again, I look weird. I look like they call me the noisy mannequin, right? I'm sitting there bald and weird and weak. And I also, there was other signs of weakness. I couldn't open a water bottle. I couldn't open the car door sometimes. Weakness was a real issue. But when I pushed only 20%, I instantly, because of all my knowledge, I was able to quickly design and strategize a plan for my comeback. I knew exactly how I was going to rebuild my body. I knew exactly how to prevent setbacks. I knew how to get back to my goal and beyond. But I felt that moment, oh my gosh, what would it be like not to be a fitness expert and have every part of your body look weird, feel weird, and now you're the weakest you've ever been and you feel defeated? Because if I was anybody else other than a fitness expert, I probably would have left the gym and gone home and cried all day. And so that's why these 2 new books exist, is because I don't ever want anyone to feel defeated. I don't ever want anyone to feel lost or unsure. I want them to, you know, get cancer out of their face, get it behind them, and have their own healthy cancer comeback. Because life was good before cancer. Now that I'm done with cancer, that I've beaten this, you know, potentially lethal disease, I have been unleashed and I am close to fearless. And life is wonderful. And I'm more athletic than I have been in a long time. So yeah, I have made a full comeback. I'm looking forward to that 5-year remission mark, where I can officially feel like I'm cured, but it's definitely behind me. I feel good about that.
Okay. And you have appeared on national media outlets and worked with corporations like Disney,
Yeah.
Tropicana, Oakley, and Office Depot. Could you kind of tell us a little bit about what that's like, if I may ask?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love connecting with large groups. You know, mass reach, mass impact is my personal mission. So I love it when a company like Disney says, we're having a fitness event for all of our cast members here at the Magic Kingdom. We're going to have hundreds of employees come. Will you guide them? So that's a great gift. I love that big companies can bring me big audiences. But the other thing I really enjoy is the fact that they trust me. right? Trusted brands like Tropicana, Office Depot, some of our, Fortune 500 giants that we actually believe in. It's nice that they believe in me. And the reason they do is because I've never stooped in fitness. I've never sold a diet. I've never sold a pill, a powder. I've never pushed snake oil on the consumer. In fact, I'm quite the advocate against those things. And so it certainly does feel nice that a company like Oakley says, we believe in her. She's going to help you. We're going to put our brand on her chest because we know she won't lead you the wrong way. I think that's really powerful, and I feel very privileged by these opportunities.
Fitz, I've been excited to have you with us today, and I just want to give you the opportunity. Is there anything else that you would like to share with listeners of this podcast today?
Well, I believe in them. I know that they can do and be a better version of themselves. So I hope they, start working on that. My website, Fitzness, that's Fitz as in zebra, NESS.com, has tons of wonderful resources, most of them free, to help you get to your point B. Exact formula for weight loss is up front, tons of free videos and recipes and so forth. But I really hope none of your listeners do have cancer, but if you know somebody who's going through it or recently has gone through it and needs the help, please point them to Fitzness.com. These 2 brand new books, they will be sold everywhere starting in January. But if you point them to me at Fitzness.com, I sign all of the books that leave my office, and I send a free gift, and I send them with love. And I really would love to connect with people that I can help, because cancer is a real big problem. And I would like for us to start being a real big problem for cancer.
Well said, well said. It's good to have Fitz with us today. She has also inspired millions of kids to get active through her successful school running, walking program. What a joy to have Fitz share with us today. Please check her books out. That interesting one, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, Running at the Mouth While Running for My Life. Again, thank you so very much, Fitz, for sharing with us today.